Well, Tulip Time kicks off this weekend with all the flowers, Dutch dancing, and fun that come with it. Much more exciting than a city council meeting where our next guest was when he came up with the idea for his new book 10 years ago. He was covering that meeting as a journalist, and he thought, what if a body was found buried in a tulip garden? Fast forward to today, and here it is, Murder at Tulip Time. This is the fourth book from author, journalist, and comedian Myron J. Kukla. He joins us today. Myron, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I really appreciate it. And I can appreciate you kind of sitting daydreaming through a city council meeting, coming up with something. Been there, done that. Let's talk about this book. And it took 10 years.
Well, I was reporting for like the Grand Rapids Press, Lakeshore Press back then, and the city council's talking about appropriate punishments for people who vandalize tulips, which I guess is a bad thing.
Yeah, right.
And so I started thinking, what if somebody planted a body right in the middle of the big tulip gardens there? And I just kind of took it from there. You know, and I'd start and stop the book, and I finished it a couple years ago, but just wasn't right. You know, I couldn't get anybody to pick it up, and then I gave it to a friend of mine, Sue Merrill, who's a mystery author in Grand Rapids. She made some suggestions. I'm going, wow, this is good.
Okay, there you go. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? And then here we go.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So look, give us a little bit of, without giving too much away, kind of talk about the premise of the story.
Well, it's been called a lighthearted murder mystery.
Okay, I like that.
And I think it becomes because the two heroes, John Garth and Jennifer Jones, are reporters on competing newspapers. And so they have to write the stories about these murders, but because it's a small town paper, they go right from that to writing stories about kids marching in tulip parades in Dutch costumes, you know.
Yeah.
So there is that, you know, interplay between the two things actually happening. And also, the city of Holland is a major character in the book.
I love that. So another character, right? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's a fascinating place where the religious group from the Netherlands moved to the U.S. in the 1850s and settled on Lake Michigan, and created this unusual community. And then in 1922, a high school teacher decided, let's celebrate our Holland Dutch roots, and they started the Tulip Festival.
There you go. So obviously your history as a journalist, reporting on all of these things as a writer yourself, plays a lot into this story. Let's talk about what things you've done.
Oh, well, actually, a lot of some of the stuff in the book is actual things that happened. One time I was covering the library board, and they had to approve people bringing concealed weapons into the library if they had a permit. But they banned people wearing wooden shoes in because it ripped up the carpet. So I wrote the story, guns allowed at library, but leave your wooden shoes
at the door.
At the door.
I read that. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. but that tracks.
It does, and you know, things like that. The book's full of that. Very interesting stuff.
Right, and you also have written some humor too.
Well, I wrote a weekly humor column for about 10 years for the press, and my first two books were based on that. One was called Confessions of a Baby Boomer, and the other one was Guide to Surviving Life, a 3,476 step guide to improving your life. Okay. But it was a joke because nobody gets out surviving life.
Exactly. All right, so I mean, it's perfect timing. Obviously, Tulip Time is here, so people can pick this up in Holland, obviously.
It's available at through Barnes & Noble stores in Holland at the Reader's World Bookshop, and Espresso and several coffee shops there. It's also available online through Amazon and Barnes & Noble Books and a number of other places. So.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations, Myron, on getting that done 10 years after it started.
Well, and I've got a signed copy
I
for you.
can't wait to read it. Thank you so much. There you go. Murder at Tulip Time, available now. Couldn't be a better time, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations to you, Myron.
Happy Tulip Time.
Happy Tulip Time.